What's going on, guys? I'm Bill and welcome to Bill's How To. Today we'll be comparing the Ryobi 1 Plus impact driver versus the Dewalt impact driver. Let's do this. Alright guys, what we've got is an awesome comparison that I've wanted to do for a super long time, especially because a lot of people seem to bag out Ryobi. So this one here is going to be an awesome experiment. So we've got the Ryobi 1 Plus range, which is a brushed motor. Also in the Dewalt we've got a brushed motor. The Ryobi brand new is I think about $99 skin only versus $140 in the Dewalt. So there's not really too much in terms of price difference. When we look at the specs, we've got 2600 RPMs on the Ryobi versus 2800 on the Dewalt. So there's only a little bit extra of free spin on the actual Dewalt. When it comes to impacts per minute, they're both sitting exactly the same at 3200 impacts per minute. And then when you have a look at torque, surprisingly the Ryobi's got more torque. So we've got 155 Newton meters of torque on the Dewalt versus 180 on the Ryobi. So this is going to be super interesting. Very, very close in terms of specs. What we're using is the standard or the bottom amp per hour batteries. So we've got here, they're both 18 volt batteries. We've got the 2 amp battery for the Dewalt and a 2.5 amp for the Ryobi. Now in terms of batteries, I'm going to be doing a separate video. Make sure you let me know in the comment section if you guys want to know just how much difference there is in terms of battery, in terms of performance and runtime and charge time and things like that. So I'm looking at doing a video on that also. So they're both 18 volt, both lithium. So they're very similar in terms of comparison. The next thing we're going to be doing is basically running a whole stack of different screws that I've got lined up here. So we've got some hex heads, some bugle heads, we've got some square drives. We're going to be driving these into this timber. So this timber is 150 millimeters in thickness, and what we've got is the biggest screw is 125 mil. So we've got here a 14 gauge 125 mil screw. So it'll be very interesting to see just how much difference there is, if any, in terms of the performance on the two drills. So I've also got my Dewalt kit, make sure I don't strip any bits or damage anything. So good set of bits ready to go. These ones here are brand new, so hopefully we're not going to have any issues. And guys, let's just get straight into it. So in terms of the Ryobi, when it comes time to using it, so I haven't used this Ryobi much. This one here is my spare drill that I usually give off to everybody else to use, and I stick to my Dewalt. Reason for that is I've had this Dewalt drill for probably about 4 years now, and it has never failed me once. I absolutely love the ergonomics of it. So it's very thin down the bottom, so I can get my fingers nice and tight around the bottom, whereas the Ryobi is pretty fat, heavy duty. But surprisingly, when it comes to weight, they both seem to weigh almost exactly the same. It's simply ergonomics on the Dewalt that I love better than the Ryobi. In terms of size, you can see there, the Dewalt is actually shorter, so that's very important, especially when it comes to an impact. Getting in those tight areas, the Ryobi will struggle compared to the Dewalt in terms of size. Surprisingly, but in terms of weight, they're both very similar, so I find it very interesting that this one here is so much larger, yet the weight is still the same. Could be because there's more plastic parts used into the Ryobi compared to the Dewalt, but at the end of the day, I mean, they're both very similar in terms of price. So let's see what we can do in terms of performance. So what we're going to be doing is driving in 12 screws on each drill. So what we've got here is the first one that I'm going to be driving in. This one here is 100 millimeter 10 gauge square drive. So I'm using specifically square drives and anything that won't slip. So I don't want to use a Phillips head. I want to give it as best of comparison as possible. So we've got these 10 gauge 100 mil screws. Next one, we've got the hex head, 14 gauge 75 mil screws. And then lastly, we're going to have 125 mil 14 gauge screws. So here we've got the internal hex, we've got the hex head, and we've got the square drive. So hopefully this shouldn't give me too much problems in terms of changing the bits. We're going to compare them and see just how much difference there is between the two drills, and we're going to start off with the Dewalt. So absolutely no pilot holes. We're going to take each one individually and drill it straight through. Let's get started. Seems to be going through no problems. Very easy. switch bits. Bit of lost time, bit of lost time. It's a race, a race, race, race. And that's it. So that was actually pretty easy. I've got a little bit more that I could have sunk on these ones here. However, they were going in pretty easy. In terms of heat, absolutely nothing. Like I think my skin temperature or body temperature is actually warmer than the drill. So that worked pretty good. Everything drove through very, very easy, as you could tell. It seemed to struggle a little bit more on the thicker gauge, which is normal. So 14 gauge seemed to struggle a little bit more. And as the length of the screw was longer, obviously started to die down a bit more. So it'll be very interesting to see how the Ryobi compares. So we'll pull these screws here out and we'll give it a go on the other side. So we'll just check the battery, make sure it's still full. So funny enough, it's actually lost 1 bar. Now this battery here is actually not that old at all. It's probably about 6 months to a year old. So it'll be very interesting to see if the Ryobi has actually lost any power whatsoever after the test. So now it's time for the Ryobi. This is going to be very interesting. So what I've done, I've actually given the Ryobi possibly a little bit of an advantage. So I've just set up my screws ready to go. Obviously, I'm not going to drill them straight into the same hole that I've already used. I'm going to start new ones. However, this will make it a bit easier just to grab them. But I will take out the time for the difference on the Dewalt when I fumbled around with the drill bits. So it'll be very interesting to see how this goes. Let's get started. Oh, very easy. Let's see. Let's see how you're going to handle the big ones. Very easy so far. Nice, nice, nice. Come on, Ryobi, let's see what you got. Come on, come on, come on. Do it for the poor people. Come on, come on. Oh, feel it a little bit struggling. Let's see how it goes on the big ones. Oh, lost my bit. Once again, come on, get out of there. Lucky last. And time. So, to be honest guys, I am super surprised. I wasn't expecting the Ryobi to actually, well, let's check the battery, see if we've lost any power. Still full power. Very, very surprising. So yeah, that was very, very interesting, guys. I honestly wasn't expecting the Ryobi to be able to handle it as well as it did. I don't use the Ryobi impact driver very often at all. My Dewalt is always the one that I go for. So let's have a look in terms of heat. Look, I got to be honest, guys. It's actually the Dewalt is still hotter than what the Ryobi is right now, and the Dewalt's been off for a while, which is very interesting. That is extremely interesting. So I don't know what's happened there. It could be because, like I said, this one here is a little bit older. This one here is about 4 years old. This one here is 2 years old. So it's a very, very interesting comparison. So suck that, everybody that's out there and always bags out Ryobi. Ryobi seems to handle pretty well so far. I've always gone for the Dewalt first, always before I touch the Ryobi. In terms of my impact driver and my drill driver, I've always had those. That were my starting 2 drills that I purchased, and they've been doing awesome ever since. So in 4 years time, I've never had this overheat to the extent where it'll actually shut off, which would be a very interesting test, to be honest. See if I can work these so hard until they actually cut out. If they cut out, let me know in the comment section below if you guys want to see that kind of video. So in terms of battery power, I'm not even sure why the Ryobi still got full. Usually I have more issues with the Ryobi battery in terms of taking more juice than I do with the Dewalt. So well, it seems to be showing full now. Maybe it had a little break. So all in all, whether you buy the Dewalt, whether you buy the Ryobi, I think you're going to be pretty happy in terms of the performance. Overall, honestly, I like the Ryobi simply because I can take the one battery and put it in all my other tools. The Dewalt performance, so you know that reliability every single day. You don't have issues with it. I haven't had any issues with my Ryobi set, but there you go. There you have it, guys. So for all those out there that really bag out Ryobi in terms of performance and capability, hopefully this has shut a few of you up, or at least given you something to think about. So there you have it, guys. I'm going to leave it up to you guys. You let me know in the comment section below, what do you think is the overall winner, the Ryobi, the Dewalt? I mean, in terms of price, you will save $50 on buying the Ryobi over the Dewalt. However, if it was me personally buying it, I'd go for the Dewalt, and that's simply because the mere size of it is enough for me to want to buy it, because I need to get the impact driver in tight areas. A lot of the times it's very, very common, and unfortunately the Ryobi wouldn't be able to handle that. So in terms of value for money, Ryobi, reliability and the ergonomics of it, unbelievable, the ergonomics. They've really thought about how they're going to design this. This one here, it's huge. It's a dinosaur. It looks like one of the drills from the 90s, just in terms of really holding it. But weight, very, very, very similar. I wouldn't even be able to pick which one is heavier. So there you have it, guys. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video, and I've swayed a few opinions over to the Ryobi side. If not, so be it. I'm still very happy with my Dewalt. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. If there's anything else you guys would like to see, or any other comparisons for that, just let me know in the comment section below, and I'll be more than happy to show you guys. As always, like, comment and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Bill. Thanks for watching Billshowto.